Welcome to my teacher toolkit. My name is Heather Kozik. Technology in education is something that is ever changing. Technology is growing so quickly. We in the school district I work at just got one-to-one Chromebooks. Majority of my students have access at home via a smartphone, an iPad, computer. Anything that they can get their hands on. And this is a compilation of some of the most useful tools I have found with the technology trends in education. First, I looked at STEAM learning. Most people know it as STEM, but they have added to it science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. It's been a growing trend for a little while now. These areas are really important for young learners as they grow in today's society. These are some of the most demanding fields that students will grow up to be a part of. So some of the resources that I found that to go with STEAM learning is Math Playground. The entire website is dedicated to really fun and engaging math games. It's either divided by grade levels or by topic. For instance, we're currently working on fractions. I can send my kids in, they can click on the fraction button, and then they can do a game based on comparing fractions or finding equivalent fractions, whatever we're working on for that day. There's also some good video clips for teaching topics, and it's a game base that can be used individually by students, or you can do it as a class together if you have a smart board where everybody can kind of play together. Another one I looked at was Mystery Science. This is really great if you've never been a part of Mystery Science, because your first year of access is free if you've never signed up before, so it's really neat. It has different lessons for different topics in science. You pick your grade level, and it goes through all the different topics that match your the next generation science standards. And it has video clips and really quick lessons that it gives you everything you need. If you need to any copies you have to make, anything you need to prepare ahead of time, it's all there. It gives you step-by-step directions of how to do it. It really is great. It involves the students in their learning. It asks questions, and the goal is by the end to find the answer. The kids are really engaged when they're working on this, and it's really awesome for teachers the way it's all set up. It's so quick, it's so easy. This is a link for some TED Talks on STEAM. TED Talks are great. It gives you so much more information, and it goes through a bunch of different talks regarding math, science, technology, everything that you could possibly need in regards to STEAM. The next trend I looked at was coding as a literacy. According to the Horizon trend of 2016, coding as a literacy is a short-term trend, but I think that's because it's just going to be completely involved in our curriculums very soon. Computer science is such a huge demanding field that we need to make sure our students are prepared. So learning coding will help them in pretty much any job that they have in the future. One tech I looked at is Code Academy. There is a free version, or you can upgrade. It teaches multiple computer languages, HTML, Java. There was one called Ruby. I'd never heard of it. You can create real life projects, which is really nice, rather than just being something that they have to do. So the fact that it brings in the real life aspect of it really gets kids involved. You have the option for collaboration. There are online forums to ask questions, gather information on whatever it is that you're doing. This is an article regarding the importance of coding for elementary students. It's not just something we need to be teaching in high school and college, but it's time to get the young ones into it and get them knowing how to code at an early age. Code.org is a website that my school has used. Our technology teacher used Code.org to teach the students coding. They have an awesome aspect for teachers. There's an entire section of lessons, and it's broken down, and you literally just click on it, and it gives you everything you need for lesson plans to create a coding lesson. It breaks it down: warm up, main lesson, wrap up, any adaptations you might need to make, or students are struggling how to go back in. and maybe give some other ideas. But it's so cool. It's broken up by grade level, all the way from kindergarten up through high school. Collaboration and redesigning learning space. I felt that these go hand in hand. The reason we are redesigning our learning spaces is because collaboration is becoming such a big portion of our education. We're not just sitting in rows anymore with a teacher at the front of the room, but the students are completely involved in their education process and in moving their learning forward. A great piece for collaboration is Google Drive. Now that everything's moving computer based, we like I said, my building has just moved to one-to-one Chromebooks, and we do have access to Google Drive. So the students get in. If we want them to respond to a reading passage together as a group, then they can all log in. They can all access the same document presentation, and they can work on it together. They can comment on each other's projects if they're necessarily not working together, but we want some student feedback. The teacher can go in and leave comments. I really like to go in while my students are writing and watch them write, and then kind of pull them over too and talk to them about, okay, like, tell me what you meant to say here. What did you want to do? I can see the writing process while it's happening rather than reading a final draft. This is a video about Google Drive and using collaboration. It's like 10 minutes long, so we won't go through it right now. And Learning Space is guided by collaboration, which is why learning spaces have begun to change. The district I work for just recently purchased new desks. They're really cool. They don't store a whole lot, which is a bummer, but moving away from paper-based things, we don't actually have as much that we need to store in our desks anymore, which is kind of cool. So, but these desks can only be organized by circles or pods of 3 or 4. You can kind of see they're trapezoid shaped. So they don't do really well in rows. We currently have some students who are misbehaving, so we've moved them out of their circles and into rows, and it's an absolute nightmare. We can't wait to be able to move them back into their circles. But it really gets them involved with each other and makes for some great conversation during activities, being that they're already in groups, and then we always have them move around the room and things like that so they can join other groups, and it's really just it's a great fit for a collaborative learning environment, as well as being that the Chromebooks are mobile. They don't have to stay plugged in anywhere. They can get up and move, and what's nice about our Chromebooks too is they're tablets as well, so the screen flips all the way around to the back, which makes the learning space much more adaptive to collaboration. There's an article here about collaborative learning spaces and the benefits of them in the classroom. Next, I looked at digital textbooks. We're also lucky enough that now that we have the one-to-one Chromebooks, that we also have access to a reading series. And our reading series is the McGraw-Hill Wonders series. And we do have online access for all of that, which is awesome. We have the reading and the math series, and we're able to, the students are able to access both storybooks, the workbook, the close reading book. We've got like 4 or 5 books that go with this series, and everything is available online. We do have, we have all the hard covers as well and all the paper-based, but it is not something we use very often. We usually have our kids log on and they read the story or have the story read to them, which is really nice because we do have a lot of kids in our class who are not at a 3rd grade reading level. So this way the story is read to them, then they can answer questions at the end. We can assign them what would be in a workbook page. We can assign them that online and they can turn it in online. So we can then still go through and grade everything. I know one of the drawbacks to, what people are worried about with digital textbooks is then the lack of how does a teacher, see what they're doing or grade things, and all of that's still accessible with the digital textbook. Even the McGraw-Hill rep, when she came and did our training at the beginning of the year, she said that a lot of districts, because when you first buy the series, everything comes with it, the workbooks and all the hardcover books and everything like that. And she said after the first year, most districts do not keep rebuying the workbooks because everything's available online. And we can't even print them out if we needed to, but we do have the one-on-one access, so the students are able to do all of those activities on the website. And then it adds other things too. There's games to help reinforce like the grammar skills. So it's more than just like, here's a grammar worksheet and do this, but we can have them play games to reinforce those skills as well. Another one I looked at is adaptive learning and online assessment. And again, I put these two trends together because I feel like online assessment is becoming adaptive. So adaptive learning is when, a student works at their own individual level and they're given their own individual needs. You wait for mastery before you move forward. And it doesn't matter if they're in third grade, but they're working at a fifth grade level, then that's what it's going to give them. Or at a third grade, they're in a third grade class, but they're working at a first grade level. It's going to give them whatever they specifically need to be successful. Newton.com is a great website for this. The video here goes through Newton and how it works. And again, it gives them a starting kind of test, figures out where they should be, and then they go from there. They don't move forward until they get to mastery, and it really helps benefit the students and their learning, making sure that they are doing the best that they can do, and go from there. Online assessments, the reason I put this with adaptive is because personally in our district, we take the MAP test, which is an adaptive style test. So as the students answer questions correctly, the questions get harder. Usually the highest academically achieving kids in our class take the longest on these tests because their tests get so difficult. And if a student is really struggling, then it will drop the questions down a little bit based on how they're answering. And to go with online assessments, Park is now completed online, which is really nice in the sense that, when you used to take Park on paper or ISAT or whatever state tests you took, you had to, collect everything at the end, and it had to be locked away so nobody could access it. You had to sign it in, sign it out. It was, it was all very, security based and things like that. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Students log on, they take their test, they log off, it's done. We don't have to worry about the security portion of anybody changing answers on state tests. The last trend I looked at was gamification, and which of course everybody loves. It's taking academic standards and moving it to a game-based platform. One that my students totally love is Prodigy. You'd never think that telling them to play a math game would be something that they would absolutely love to do. Prodigy is a math-based interactive game. The kids get to pick a character and they're wizards, and it's also collaborative. They can find each other while they're playing, and what's really nice too is teachers can go in and when we first started multiplication, we went in and set it up so that they were only getting multiplication questions while they were playing. So it was really nice for the kids to practice those skills that we were working on. This is also a game that I think 90% of my kids play at home outside of school as well. Like, they fully enjoy it. They all tell me it's on my iPad, it's on my tablet, it's on this. So it's a really great game that brings in the math portion. Kahoot is another game based website. It's like a quiz type game. So you can create your own, or there's so many on there that you can skim through, make sure it's everything that you want that somebody else has already created. The students compete against one another for the highest score. It's always a big hoot because I like to jump in and I play against them too. And so then the whole goal is to beat the teacher. So it's really great. The kids really enjoy doing it. It's fast paced. It's a really nice game for any subject area. So that's about it. I have my sources listed. I used majority of the source of the readings we did in class, but overall, this is my teacher toolkit. Thanks.